Hi, Global Goddesses. Lauren Robinson here. I am super excited to be here today with the Global Goddess Virtual Tribe. This is awesome. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren Robinson. I am the CEO of Led by Love. I host international yoga and wellness retreats. I am a gut health advocate, and I am very passionate about sharing the healing power of essential oils with the world. So what we are getting into today is something really near and dear to my heart, and I absolutely love sharing about gut health, and we'll get into a little bit of my story. And we will also talk about some key tips on how you can begin to recognize any signs and symptoms of a perhaps gut flora imbalance in your life. Oftentimes there's a lot of non-specific symptoms. And so the first thing you might not think to go to is your gut, but I'll help you learn how to identify any symptoms that might actually be related to gut health. And then we are going to talk about how you can begin to heal the gut naturally, because it can be done. And I am living proof. So I know we don't have a ton of time today, and I could talk on gut health for hours. So I want to just get right into it. I just put some frankincense on. I don't know if anybody else out there right now has an oil nearby. Now's a good time. Just put it on. We'll take a collective breath and then we'll get started. So frankincense is known to be like the king of all oils. And one of its properties is anti-anxiety, good, as well as there's all these studies about it actually helping to heal people who have experienced brain trauma just by breathing it in. So it's a pretty amazing essential oil. So now that we've gotten grounded, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and just feeling your feet on the earth, and we can begin. So a little bit about me. Let's see, about 6 years ago, I was presented with the biggest challenge to date in my life. I was diagnosed with a bacterial overgrowth in my small intestine, SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And everyone wants to know, like, how did this happen? And it's actually not that uncommon, though it sounds crazy. But basically, I had taken Cipro, which is a pharmaceutical antibiotic. It is a fluoroquinoline. This means that this specific antibiotic is a broad spectrum antibiotic that does contain fluoride, which is a known neurotoxin. And basically, this antibiotic completely wiped my system of any beneficial gut flora. So it was wild. I could go super deep into like all the tests that I had done. And the doctors actually were like, wow, you have zero of a specific beneficial probiotic, which they hadn't seen before. So my case was pretty severe. And, I share this with you in hopes that there is somebody out there who, like me, was dealing with all of these symptoms and is really desperate for a solution, and has perhaps been going the more conventional Western allopathic medicine, which I also did, and it's not working. So I share so that I can hopefully give you a little a glimmer of hope, and knowing that when we really dive into self-love and tuning into our body messages, that we can heal on a much deeper level. And so fast forward through all of the allopathic medicine, and I will say my big shift away from that was I had this defining moment where I was taking yet another antibiotic because, in Western medicine, what do you do if you have the bacterial overgrowth? The idea would be to just take more antibiotics, when in fact, we now know that we need to begin to nourish and heal the lining of the gut, as well as, invite fermented foods and probiotics into play. And so at this time, I'm taking the antibiotic, and my hand started shaking. I didn't want to put it in my mouth. My body message was coming through in a really, really loud and clear way. And at this point in my life, I wasn't actually used to tuning into that, but thank God I listened. So over the next 3.5 years, and yes, that's how long I was dealing with this particular issue for, I dove deep into natural healing and naturopathy, and I have done every cleanse under the sun. It became my part-time job to my full-time job, really, to heal myself because I felt that bad. So what are some of the signs and symptoms? What are the things that I was experiencing? Oh, I'm getting excited. I'm like rocking the table. What are some of the things that I was experiencing that you might also be feeling, or that you just want to create greater awareness for yourself or for those that you love? Because this, again, is a very, very common thing. Specifically here in America, it is now proven to be a epidemic of gross mass scale because of our standard American diet, which is sad, which is acidic, which creates the perfect opportunity for candida. It's a perfect opportunity for bacteria to survive in your body that really should be a bit more alkaline if we are eating our leafy greens and reducing the chronic stress in our life. So the signs and symptoms. So now would be a really good time to, if you've got like a pen and paper nearby, get that out. So again, they can be non-specific. So a lot of people deal with acne, and this is something that I had never experienced in my life until I had the small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And now I'm feeling compelled to tell you that if you have ever been diagnosed with IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, and I had been diagnosed with this, but there's a reason why. There's a reason why it's irritated. And I think the doctors are really quick to give that blanket overview. And now studies are showing that it's like 80+% of these cases of IBS, the individual actually has a bacterial or fungal overgrowth. So for those of you who might be like, oh, yeah, I thought I was just going to have to deal with this. No. And that can be absolutely related to any acne that you might be dealing with, especially if it's like a deep cystic acne. Or I know for me personally, I would get like these little bumps all over my forehead or right around my mouth. And our skin, you guys, is the largest organ in our body. I've heard it called our third kidney because it filters things. So something is not happy inside and it is trying to come out. So if you're suddenly dealing with acne like you've never had before, or any skin issues, if suddenly you are rashy, or you've just noticed a change in your skin, that's something to be on the lookout for. If you're dealing with food intolerances, which can also show up in way of the skin, if you're unable to digest things that, when you were younger, you could definitely digest any sort of fatigue. So this was huge for me. I just noticed that I didn't have that drive to get up in the morning. And mostly I would say that was because I was wildly distended. So we call this dysbiosis. So I'm hearing this a lot, like particularly with women who are like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've just been super bloated and it's not even, my time of the month. And I'm hearing and I'm seeing more and more of this. And that is like the number one red flag, you guys. And bloating is no fun. Okay. And so that's what makes you, when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so heavy, or you're still feeling the dinner from the night before. This is really not a normal process, right? Our body has cleansing waves to move that food and process it, and enzymes that happen to move it down and out. And you shouldn't be feeling bloated and heavy on a regular basis. And if you are, you don't have to. And I'll help you. I'll help you on that journey, right? So bloating, fatigue, skin stuff, and then there's mood. Okay. So more serotonin is produced in your gut than it is in your brain, which is a wild concept. The gut-mind connection, perhaps you've heard that, or the gut-skin connection, is very, very real. So if you notice or start to notice if when you're feeling heavy, how that impacts your mood, right? And more and more studies are coming out about gut flora and autism and gut flora and mental dis-ease. So it's so critically important that we create a really healthy gut microbiome. So we all have bacteria and candida that lives in the gut, and it's just that we should have these beneficial gut flora in higher amounts, right? And then we also want to make sure that lining of our gut has these tight junctures. So you could think of this as, like a really tightly knitted scarf, right? So nothing's getting through there, and it shouldn't, because it's meant to go down and nutrients are absorbed and then everything else is excreted. But with these tight junctures in our small intestine, they can become more permeable, right? So meaning that stuff can begin to pass through. And so also this is how all of these autoimmune diseases begin to happen, right? Because then things go through, it's not supposed to be in the bloodstream. Suddenly your body is attacking it, right? So adding to that list of symptoms is any autoimmune stuff you might have going on. You're definitely going to want to check the gut. And we want to keep the gut nice with the tight junctions. So what causes it to loosen is overuse of antibiotics, alcohol, acidic foods, wearing it down. But let's focus on what we can do. Okay, because I'm sure everyone here is like, oh my gosh, but it's okay. And you can heal the lining of your gut. You can heal the lining of your gut. And that's going to take some self-love. It's going to take a lot of self-love. And it's totally worth it, because I personally have just dove into the depths of self-healing. And I had a really, really bad case. And I'm here on the other side, and I'm able to enjoy foods. I love waking up in the morning. I feel that I no longer have brain fog. That's another symptom, and I can make more accurate distinctions. in my life. So if any of you have ears perking up, you're like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on for me or my brother, sister, whatever. Here are a few key tips that I want to share with you today on how to heal. Okay. And I don't want it to seem like this mountain of a task for anyone. You can totally do it. A lot of people will say to me, like, when I mention a cleanse, like, oh, but I love to eat and I don't want to go hungry or whatever. And please know that you should always be eating an ample amount of food to feel satisfied. Of course, you don't want to overeat, but the point of the cleanse is not to be hungry. It is to, pens and papers, reduce the toxic load in your life. We cannot necessarily change our environmental toxins that are coming in, especially if we live in a city, but we absolutely can begin to change the stuff that we put on our body. Again, remember, our skin's the largest organ in our body. So we can begin with natural cleaning products in home. We can ingest organic foods. I know some of you out there are on a budget. I get it. Okay. Look up the Dirty Dozen list. So this is the top 15 that you can, top 15 foods that they recommend that you buy organic because they are so pesticide laden. So definitely look up the Dirty Dozen. And then alternatively, there's Clean 15. And those are the conventionally grown fruits and vegetables that you'd be okay to buy the conventional methods of growing if you are short on cash. So I definitely recommend you check that out. Also, go ahead and look up the app called Think Dirty. I know it's the name's like, oh, but what it is it's a scanner. You guys are going to like hate me and you're going to love me. And you're going to go into your bathroom and you can start to just like scan all of your current health or body products. And it's going to tell you on a scale from 1 to 10, it's going to tell you how pesticide laden or how chemical laden, toxin laden that particular product is. And then it will give you the name of the carcinogen and exactly what it does to your system. So if you've got like a ton of products that are at a 10, you might want to reconsider using that. And again, like, don't freak out. It's a process, right? You can begin to use it up or throw it out if you're freaked out, and then slowly begin to replace those products. So then your body is not having to work as hard to remove those additional toxins. Like our body's always filtering, but you're making it a little bit easier so that you can then begin to work on healing yourself and healing your gut. And so what we want to do with the food aspect is there's a ton of different diets out there, and I really like to keep it simple. I've done most of them myself, and I think at the end of the day, really, especially if you're going into a cleanse, absolutely no refined sugar. And it's hard, you guys, but it is totally worth it, and you can do it. And that's why we have this like online support group, which I'll tell you later how you can join us in that. But yeah, cutting out the sugar, cutting out the refined carbohydrates. So in essence, eating real food. Okay. So you need to have those fruits and veggies, particularly the veggies, which are detoxifying and they are alkalizing to your system. Remember, we want a more alkalized system, because when the body is acidic, that's when some of these things like the bacterial overgrowth and the IBS and all that stuff can really begin to flare up. So we're clean eating. We are reducing our toxic load. And then you can go ahead and you can add in a 30-day gut cleanse. This cleanse, I absolutely love it. I have tried so many, and I'm going to tell you just kind of a breakdown of how it works over the 30 days. It's broken up into 3 segments. So there is the first stage, which is the renewing stage. So at this stage, it's very easy. You're doing your clean eating. So you got that down. And then you're going to simply add in a food nutrient complex, your omega complex, which that's going to offer you those healthy, healthy fats that positively impact your brain and your joints. So you have happy, lubricated joints. And it's also very essential to gut health. You are also going to introduce it's called Alpha CRS. I really, really, really like that supplement. It has turmeric and green tea and ginseng and all of these, and ginger, all of these super antioxidant, super anti-inflammatory, vegetarian, plant-based herbs. So that's like pretty basic. I actually take that every single day. So I'm like constantly in phase 1 is just a daily maintenance. You're just taking your multivitamin, doing self-care in the form of self-love. Yeah. And so then stage 2, and this is like the most critical stage. I can't begin to stress this enough. So if you are really dealing with these issues, GX Assist is going to reset your gut. Okay. So this has, and I'll give you a little background on the microbes in your gut. So imagine you've got this bacteria. What happens is it's smart. This is how antibiotic resistant bacteria is created, you guys. So here's your bacteria. Smart, it's virulent, thriving, okay? Especially in this acidic, sad diet that we have going on. And then it creates a biofilm to protect itself. So now it's established a very, very healthy, happy, or not healthy, but it is happy in your unhealthy gut. So it's like, I'm going to put up house here, okay? And so pharmaceuticals have a really hard time penetrating that biofilm. Okay, this is how the antibiotic resistant bacteria begins to happen. And so there is something amazing found in coconuts, caprylic acid. So the caprylic acid, which is in that GX Assist supplement, comes in and starts to penetrate, creates little holes in that biofilm. And then comes in oil of oregano. And oil of oregano has is such near and dear place in my heart. I am so, so grateful for oregano. It is one of the strongest herbal antibiotics that we have. So it comes in and it blasts the bacteria. Okay, so when you're in this is stage 2 of our 30-day cleanse, about day probably like 3 to 5, because once this gets released, now it's out in the system, which is good that we got it out of it. We're shaking things up. So now it's out in the system. And so this is when you're really drinking a lot of water. This is when I encourage you to reach out on that support group because you're likely going to have some sugar cravings because it wants to live. But you can beat the sugar cravings. I've done it. It's okay. It's okay. It lasts about 48 hours, the cravings I found typically. And during that time, you might get a little bit more bloated. Some of your symptoms might exacerbate. And then I promise you, you're going to feel so much better after it flushes out. And there's some other products that are detailed in the cleanse. And so like for anyone who is this is resonating with, and you are thinking of doing this cleanse, don't worry. There's a checklist. So it's like day 1, day 2, right? So it's very simple. But there is a zendocrine complex, which actually helps to detox your body from heavy metals and to pull the stuff out. And it contains cilantro, which is really, really good for that. So here we are. We've gotten through the reset phase. That's phase 2. That's 10 days. And after the first few days, you're going to already start to feel better. So now we're in stage 3. And this is very, very, very key. Okay. So there's a lot of talk about probiotics right now. And here's another moment where you can like jot this down. So I think we all know you can go to Whole Foods. Probiotics are insanely expensive. And also, I absolutely believe in investing in probiotics for your health. Even if you are not feeling compelled to like, oh, I need a full cleanse, like everybody could absolutely benefit from just taking a daily probiotic. So here's the key thing. You want to get a probiotic that has a time releasing capsule. So that actually makes its way into your small intestine, because what happens if it doesn't have the time release capsule is that it actually, because our guts are acidic, that it doesn't even make its way down to where it needs to be. So in my mind, that's kind of like flushing money away, because we really need that probiotic, and we want it to go down far into the intestinal tract, which is quite long. What do they say? It's like length of a football field. So yeah, it has some way to travel, which is also why too, like, let's not forget about eating fermented foods. Okay. But, as far as this probiotic right now, you want the time release. You also want to get a probiotic that has a prebiotic fiber. So prebiotic fiber is the probiotic, which is a beneficial bacteria. It's food. And so when it's together, that's what actually allows it to inoculate the lining of your gut, to tighten those junctures. I'm just going to boom, turn the volume off. I'm getting some, maybe you guys can hear it. I'm getting some messages. So yeah, so we want to, re-inoculate with the probiotics. This is absolutely huge. And I do have a recommendation for you. The PB Assist is the favorite probiotic that I have found that is cost effective and meets all of my requirements. And the other thing is, if you're dealing with what they call co-infections, so, and we could do like a whole nother workshop on that, but some of you who are dealing with gut stuff might also be dealing with UTIs, right? Things like this that are, co-infections. And if you do have a UTI or another specific infection, you can start to take, I'll do extra supplementation with probiotics, so bacteria specific to the urogenital tract, right? This PB Assist is has the lactobacillus, and that is your, just kind of like your everyday need it, gotta have it. It's gonna boost your immune system and overall longevity. So we went in, we renewed, now you're getting all of your vitamins and minerals. If you are having dysbiosis, if you're having leaky gut, if you're going to the bathroom multiple times a day with diarrhea or constipation, you are likely dealing with issues of malabsorption, particularly with vitamin B12. So that's why those food nutrient complexes are very important. And then you're going to go through the cleansing phase, and then you're going to come back in and basically tell the gut, like, hey, this is how things are going to be in here. And yeah, you're definitely going to see a reduction in the bloating, mood will lift, all of these things. And so if you are like, wow, I've been there, in which I was watching something and was like, oh my God, that's what is going on with me. I would absolutely love to connect with you. It is my dharma now to educate the world on gut health. I'm super, super passionate about it because it is the biggest challenge that I've ever overcome in my life. And I know that there are other people out there who, like me, are unaware of other natural solutions. So that's what I'm here to offer you guys today. I really hope that that was insightful for you, that you learned some new stuff. If you are wanting to join me on a cleanse, we have a whole online platform inside of Facebook. So you're going to have massive support. We've got a psychotherapist on our team who gets in there and talks a lot about the mind gut connection. That is happening on February 4th. Okay, so everybody who tuned in today, you are all going to get 3 key tips on how to heal your gut from me. And you'll have information in there about how to join us on the cleanse. And for anybody who is signing up for the full exclusive access for the Goddess Fest, you are going to get a 45-minute wellness consultation with me. So we'll do that online via Zoom. We can connect exactly with what's going on in your life, with your gut. If you scan the Think Dirty app and your eyes are like, oh my gosh, where do I start with creating a natural home? I've got your back. Okay. So I just want to send you all so much gratitude today for, taking time to tune in to hear my story, to dive into your own healing. And I just want to send the message out that all healing is possible when led by self-love. So you can do it. I've got your back. And thanks again. I hope you guys have a beautiful, lovely day. Please connect with me. I'm Led by Love Lauren. You can find me. That's my website, Instagram, Facebook. So Led by Love Lauren. And I hope you guys have a good one. Bye.